Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and today we're talking about Wrestlemania. Yes, it is officially Wrestlemania weekend, with night one of this year's event kicking off tonight in front of thousands of fans at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. That's right, actual people, real life people. But what has this got to do with Football Manager? Well, I've excelled myself once again, and after the success of the Football Manager Royal Rumble crossover, I've done it once again for the biggest show of the year, and using Football Manager 2021, I've created Wrestlemania FC. So basically, Wrestlemania FC is the new name for League One side Bristol Rovers. Why Bristol Rovers, I hear you ask? Well, because their nickname's the Pirates, and there's a pirate theme going on for this year's Wrestlemania due to where it's being held. Speaking of where it's being held, Wrestlemania FC will be playing their home games at Raymond James Stadium. Logistically, that might be a little bit of a ball ache with all the travelling, but I've put an extra 50 million quid in the bank to cover all the flights from the UK to Florida every few days. Throughout the team, I've got a plethora of names from WWE, from Seth Rollins to Bobby Lashley. But basically what I've done is put wrestlers' second names into the Football Manager editor database and sent them to Wrestlemania FC before changing the names. So for example, we've got Chelsea's Reece James, who is now Mickey James. We've got a full squad and there won't be any additions to it because of a transfer ban. And finally, calling the shots no longer is Joey Barton, instead we've got Vince McMahon as manager. We're going to do 3 years of this team, so let's see how on earth Wrestlemania FC gets on in League One. Oh, and also during the video, I'll be giving you my WrestleMania 37 predictions for both nights, so keep listening for that. Right, let's see the team. Okay, here we are at the start of the simulation, the 27th of July 2020, and at the bottom of the Sky Bet League One table, you will see a Bristol Rovers badge, but now they are Wrestlemania FC. They are filthy rich, damn it, with 50 million quid that they can't spend. Ignore the vice captain, he's gone. I've released every player from Bristol Rovers. I've added a whole host of new players. I think what, about 23 players maybe. As you can see, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa is the stadium. 75,000 fans, that's a lot of fans for Bristol Rovers. Wrestlemania FC, sorry. And the manager is Vince McMahon, who is Irish. Yeah, I suppose there was the whole Hornswoggle thing, but whatever. Let's check the team out. We have got, from top to bottom, Seth Rollins, Titus O'Neil, Kay, who's Billy Kay, Matt Riddle, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, Shane McMahon, because you've got to have the son in there, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, Keith Lee, Xavier Woods, Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Morrison, Mickey James, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, Edge, Kane, Becky Lynch, and finally, Mandy Rose. Apologies if I've missed your favourites out there, but unfortunately I needed players who had similar names. You will notice a few similar names there from football. As we've said, Mickey James is Reece James from Chelsea. Of course, Kane is Harry Kane. Steve Austin is Charlie Austin. What else we've got? Shinsuke Nakamura is Shunsuke Nakamura, your doorball. Who else we've got? Keith Lee is Elliot Lee, Rob Lee's son. And Mandy Rose is Danny Rose. So there you have it. The rest of them, I mean, some of these players are absolutely no ones. I think there's some in the reserves as well. Sasha Banks, Bobby Lashley, Lita, and Kevin Owens. Lita is Leroy Lita, by the way, at the age of 35. I thought that was pretty fun. But I mean, Bobby Lashley's only 16 years old. But he was called Lashley, so what was I supposed to do? That is your team. Genuinely got no idea how it's going to do. I mean, you've got two great players there in Mickey James and Kane. They're going to be the dynamic duo. But with Vince McMahon calling the shots, how are they going to get on? Let's simulate a year into the future. Let's see how Wrestlemania FC do. Okay, here we are, the end of the first season of the simulation, the 13th of June 2021. And to be honest, when I first made this team, I thought Wrestlemania FC were going to be relegated straight away. I even added the Vanarama National League North and South because I thought they would just go tumbling down the Football League. Little did I forget they've got the big red machine Kane, and thanks to his goals, Wrestlemania FC have came a respectable 12th. Bang in the middle of the league, 64 points, 16 wins, 16 draws, 14 defeats. That is what you call 50-50 booking. Harry Kane wins the golden... Sorry, I keep getting these names wrong. Kane, Hall of Famer Kane no less, gets the golden boot with 24 goals. He got a higher average rating than anyone, 8.11. And he got 23 Man of the Match awards. £40 million. He's got a contract worth just $1,000 a week. So, I mean, someone could possibly sign him. That is a wonderful season Kane has had. Let's see how his teammates have done. Mark Bowen, now the manager. So, Vinnie Mac has been sacked or fired, if you will. I would do the impression, but I don't think my throat could handle it. Vince McMahon fired on the 24th of April. You're fired! No, that was terrible. Anyway, let's have a look at the team. John Morrison, the skipper now. No Miz to bounce off, but I wonder if he's got his wonderful mullet. Let's check how the team have been doing. Best player, obviously Harry Kane. Then you got Mickie James, John Morrison doing well. Xavier Woods, who I think is Ryan Woods from, I want to say Stoke. He's done alright as well. Drew McIntyre, decent performance. Seth Rollins has been sent out on loan. Stone Cold Steve Austin. How come Charlie Austin's only played 13 games? Got himself 5 goals, which was pretty decent. Hulk Hogan, he's got himself 14 goals. That's obviously Scott Hogan. He's going to be out for 3 to 5 months, brother, so he won't be putting anyone else over anytime soon. Who hasn't played? Nakamura, I mean, can I get a match? Can I get a game? Cesaro, underutilised. He has got a WrestleMania match coming up though. Shane McMahon, the boss's son, hasn't jumped off anything yet, but he has made 6 appearances as a goalkeeper. That's typical, isn't it? The manager's son, goalkeeper. Only way in getting the team. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, a lot of substitute appearances. Quite disappointing. But Kane and Mickie James has never been so important. This is better than the time she did that weird thing where she grabbed Trish Stratus in an uncomfortable position at WrestleMania 20... Ooh, what was it? 21 or 22. Either way, it's not on the network anymore. But let's have a look at the schedule. Let's see how they got on. Was there any cup success? FA Cup, they made it to the 3rd round. They were beaten by Southend. I wonder, was the home and away record pretty poor? How many fans, first of all? Hey, they were getting some big fans at Raymond James Stadium. Well, some games they were. They played Hull here at Raymond James Stadium on a Tuesday night. Just shy of 32,000 there, but 87 travelling Hull fans. They made the long journey to Tampa Bay, Florida. I wonder what their average attendance was. Let's check that out, because I mean, it's a long way from Bristol to Tampa. Right, we've got the attendance stats. So the average attendance was 33,227, which to be fair, is quite a lot of people. Lowest attendance was for a Papa John's game, only 3,818 people made the journey to Raymond James. But the English FA, why have I called it the English FA Cup? The FA Cup second round tie between Wrestlemania FC and Forest Green saw nearly 68,000 fans through the door. Wow. All of that for a game against Forest Green. I am absolutely shocked. But that is the end of Season 1, and to be honest, it has gone better than expected. Sure, they've changed managers, that's fine. Vince McMahon, you're gone. But let's see what Season 2 entails. Let's simulate another year into the future. Right, here we are, the 19th of June 2022. It is Season 2 of the Wrestlemania FC experiment. And yet again, they're mid-table. They've came 15th in Sky Bet League 1, 63 points, 17 wins, 12 draws and 17 defeats. Yet again, it is that 50-50 booking that WWE absolutely love. Big Red Machine Kane, best player yet again, average rating of 7.86, 11 man of the match awards, but he's only gone and bloody defected. He's gone to Chelsea for just shy of £40 million. What a stab in the heart for Wrestlemania FC. One of the big names has jumped the gun. He's gone from WWE to AEW. Well, he's gone from Bristol to Chelsea. Has anyone else left? Let's have a look. Nakamura's gone. Billy Kay's gone. Daniel Bryan's gone to Middlesbrough. Bray Wyatt on loan to Haverton Waterlooville. Seth Rollins on loan to Maidenhead. Get your words out, James. And that's it. But the big one, Kane. That is a huge loss. To lose Kane. He puts butts in seats. The best player, Xavier Woods, steps up in the absence of the Big Red Machine. Mickie James still doing well. Keith Lee's a player that's had a big Season 2. He's got a big push down the right wing. Who else have we got? Mandy Rose, disappointing. He's unhappy. She's unhappy. It is unhappy. Wants to move to a bigger club. This is WrestleMania. What? This is the biggest show around. This isn't Double or Nothing or Slammiversary. Goodness me. Has there been any joy in any of the cup competitions? I'm going to guess no. Knocked out of the FA Cup by Cambridge and beaten in the Papa John's by Crawley, where only 6,000 fans were inside Raymond James Stadium. That is kind of disappointing. Let's see how it went this season with the attendances. Average attendance was slightly down to 29,000. and the highest one they got was only 56,000. So that's quite disappointing. I bet they're making a canny killing though in terms of gate receipts. 881 grand just for one game there for Wickham. Lita's getting a game, obviously bringing the legends back. Although there's now a scout, he's been released, so that's obviously retired. That is disappointing. I was going to say he scored, but she didn't. I keep flipping between male and female for when I've got women wrestlers, but it doesn't matter. Don't think anyone's going to be offended by that in the comments. If you are, I apologise. Only 41 crew fans making it to that game, and they were treated to a 0-0 draw. But I mean, 2 seasons in, to be honest, they're doing a lot better than I thought. Especially now they've lost Kane. Mickie James, the main person now, which isn't really a ringing endorsement considering is she retired now? Or did she just get injured? I mean, she's not doing anything. She hasn't got a match this year. Not even a measly tag team. She couldn't even get in with Tamina. But that is the end of Season 2. And before we go into Season 3, let's do the predictions now. Let's go to the WrestleMania card. We'll be doing this. We'll do Saturdays and then we'll do Sundays. So on the Saturday, I'm just going off Wikipedia in the order they've got. I'll go from bottom to top. They have got the first match as the Women's Tag Team Turmoil match. Lana and Naomi against Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose against the Riot Squad. Against Natalya and Tamina. There's talk that Carmella and Billie Kay are going to get added to that. Oh, who am I going to go with? I genuinely don't care. As long as it's not Lana and Naomi and Natalya and Tamina, I don't mind which of the two. I'll go the Riot Squad. We'll go for them to win it. Because they're alright. After that, Cesaro and Seth Rollins could be match of the night. Absolutely buzzing for that one. Excited to see how many times Cesaro can swing Seth Rollins. Can he swing him so far he lands on the pirate ship? Probably not. But going to go for a Cesaro win there. This could be his breakout moment ahead of a huge 2021 for him. Hopefully Seth Rollins wears a gnarly suit. His suit game has been absolutely on point lately. Moving on to one of the least anticipated matches of the night. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage. Genuinely couldn't give a toss about this feud. I mean, when it was first bubbling away, my only excitement was that Braun might throw Shane off something high. Steel cages are quite high, but if he throws him off it, you'll lose like he did to Kevin Owens that time. Braun Strowman's going to win this, but realistically, couldn't care. A good time to go for a piss, maybe get yourselves a new drink. Next, the New Day defending the tag titles against AJ Styles and Omos. This is quite an interesting one. If AJ wins this, he'll become a Grand Slam champion in WWE, partnering with that absolute giant of a man, Omos. But I mean, he's going to be greener than the grass. Oh, I don't know which way this one's going to go. I'm going to go for the New Day to retain. I think AJ will cost Omos. They're not going to have a man the size of Omos get pinned on his first night. I mean, I know this is AJ Styles, one of the greatest of all time, but that doesn't matter in the land of WWE. Moving on, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against The Miz and John Morrison. Genuinely, I like Bad Bunny. Didn't know anything about him until he turned up the Royal Rumble, but I think he's been fairly entertaining. Big fan of Damian Priest. The Miz and John Morrison, they've been doing okay work. It's a little bit hit and miss with the comedy, but it could be fun. Either way, it's Bad Bunny and Damian Priest winning this all day. Next, I don't know whether this will main event or it'll be Sasha and Bianca. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. This is going to be an absolute hoss fight. These two are going to beat the absolute piss out of each other. Oh, and I don't know who's going to win it. I wonder if this will be the first match. And then they have Banks and Belair main event. Then you've got Drew becoming the first person to come out in front of fans for the first time in over a year. Is he going to win it? I generally don't mind who wins this one. Bobby Lashley, they've built him up brilliantly in recent weeks. It's mint seeing him as the champion. But I'm going to go for Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre to win back the WWE title. And finally for Saturday, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. The build's been a little bit weird. Sasha Banks' laugh cuts right through us. And hopefully, this is the night for Bianca Belair. Hopefully she wins the tag titles, Christ. Hopefully she wins the women's titles. I'm thinking of what was happening earlier in the feud when they were, for no apparent reason, wanting the tag titles. Stupid. Anyway, that's all in the past now. Hopefully no involvement of Reginald. I like Reginald, but he's not needed in this, which could be the main event. Bianca Belair, that's who I'm going with. Moving on to night 2. At the bottom here, Wikipedia have got the women's tag title, so that would be for me, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against the Riot Squad. I don't care. Nia Jax and Shayna, just go with that. Next, Matt Riddle against Sheamus, just Riddle. Riddle's character is so weird, man. Like, it's stoner humour, but not that funny stoner humour. And obviously they can't be too upfront about him being a stoner because it's still a PG programme. Either way, I think Riddle's going to win this one. Moving on, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. An absolute dream match. I love it when these two are working together. Except when you've got Logan Paul involved for no reason. I mean, if Logan Paul can get involved, surely I could get on a Impact pre-show perhaps. We'll push for that in the next year. But who's going to win? Kevin Owens. Let's go for that one. Moving on, Big E versus Apollo, Nigerian drum fight for the Intercontinental Championship. No idea really what that means. It sounds like it's basically a no disqualifications match. But fair play to these two guys. This feud for me has been absolutely brilliant. The new Apollo character, it's mint seeing him having an actual character. The accents, I kind of can't really get away with it because that's not how he's been talking for the past few years. It's like Kofi Kingston when he used to be Jamaican. But who is going to win? I feel like Apollo needs to win, otherwise this character could be dead in the water. But I've got quite a few title changes already, so I'm going to go with Big E to defend the IC title. Moving on, The Fiend versus Randy Orton. A feud based around the fact that Randy Orton burned a man alive. If The Fiend doesn't win this, there is no justice. You know when they do these stories about bullies and how in the end sometimes the bully still wins? Randy Orton literally burnt him alive. The Fiend has to win. There's been a lot of criticism of this feud for the way it's dragged on and whatnot. I mean, I haven't been too bothered by it. I think that the slow build's been fine. They couldn't just have The Fiend come back after being murdered. You know, he couldn't have come back after a month. Alexa Bliss has done really well. The spooky stuff has been a little bit, a bit too much at times, but it has been different. But it's got to be The Fiend winning. Penultimate match, Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. This is going to be an absolute banger. I wasn't into it when it was going to be Charlotte challenging for the title either against Lacey Evans or Asuka. Charlotte and Asuka would have been a class match, but we've seen it before. Rhea Ripley being in there, being an absolute badass, and back in the Aussie to win the title and beat Asuka on her first match on the main roster. I absolutely love Rhea Ripley. She's been class over the past 18 months. Asuka's been great too, but now is the time for Rhea Ripley to win the title. Asuka's had the belt for a long time. It's Rhea Ripley's night. And the main event, Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. This, I genuinely can't call it. Asuka's in an hour, I'll probably change my pick. This, for a main event, this is the most excited I've been for a main event in years. I mean, if you look back over the years, sometimes the main events have been a little bit disappointing. I mean, 35, the build to it was great, but then the card was so long, no one cared about the main event. It fell a little bit flat. Going back, 34 was naff, 33 was naff, 32 was naff. 31, the last great WrestleMania main event. But this could be incredible. Who am I picking? Daniel Bryan. There we go. They are my predictions for WrestleMania 37. I'll be on Twitter, no doubt, during the night. Tweeting away. I'm at HITC James if you want to join in the conversation. But let's go back to Wrestlemania FC and let's see how they get on in their third and final year as a club. Okay, here we are, the 18th of June 2023, the third and final season we're going to look at, and it has ended in heartache for Wrestlemania FC. They have been relegated from League One. They have came 22nd, just 46 points. They were 3 shy of Wigan, who were the final team to survive. And unfortunately, it's ended in tears. The finances are insecure. The trips back and forth to Florida are obviously killing them. And it's just all gone a little bit Pete Tong. Have they got rid of any people? No one else has gone. I mean, ever since Kane went, they haven't been the same. Ever since he defected. Let's have a look at the team. See who was the best player in the final season. John Morrison. Mr. Consistent John Morrison. Do not sleep on John Morrison. Mint performer, entertaining, can do some crazy stuff. And as a leader for Wrestlemania FC, he has overseen them going down to League 2. But never mind, Mickey James has done well, Xavier Woods, Sasha Banks. At 21, I think Sasha Banks was Scott Banks. Crystal Palace signed him a few years ago. Who else? Shane McMahon, not done anything. Bray Wyatt, substitute. This hasn't really gone to plan. Well, actually, I was going to say it hasn't really gone to plan, but to be honest, they've done better than I thought. And in the final season, the top scorer, Keith Lee, a man who, not really sure why, isn't even on WrestleMania, hasn't been seen for weeks. Is he injured? Is he ill? Who knows? And behind him, one of the old favourites, Stone Cold Steve Austin, just smashing beers, having a good time, hitting stunners, and he's doing better than Kevin Owens because his stunner is much better. But in the end, Wrestlemania FC, for me, it's been a hit. Raymond James Stadium has been the host to some fantastic League One games, but unfortunately next season it's going to be League Two football, and they could be going bust, just like so many wrestling companies have done in the past. That was a little bit harrowing, wasn't it? But hopefully you enjoy WrestleMania 37. I'll be watching it. I'm very excited for it. Unfortunately, we can't watch it with the mates, but that's unfortunately just a sign of the times. Things will be different next year, hopefully. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my predictions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the video. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.